You are welcome to the Scholar Online class. My name is Mr. Ibrahim. I'm going to be taking you through English and we'll be looking at the topic figure of speech. Expectedly, I believe we should be familiar with figures of speech. But today, we are going to be giving a serious and a very simple definition and relevant examples to the meaning of figure of speech. Then we'll also be looking at figure of speech and their definition. Under that, we will be looking at not less than 19 figures of speech, starting with simile, metaphor, personification, apostrophe, hyperbole, euphemism, antithesis, oxymoron, epigram, irony, pun, metonymy, synecdoche, transferred epithets, litotes, interrogation, exclamation, climax, anticlimax. All these are things we're going to be looking at. But firstly, what do we refer to as figures of speech? Figures of speech are extensively and effectively used in poetry to express ideas and feeling in an expressive manner. So, we're going to be looking at the definition of each of these things. Before that, we need to understand that for expressions to actually take its proper shape, there's need for some ingredients that will bring it real for people to better appreciate when it comes to reading. And that is why figure of speech is of serious importance. But let's look at the figure of speech and their definition. Number one, we'll be looking at simile. What do we refer to as simile? Simile is a figure of speech which is used to compare two different things having a common quality. It is used to, compare two different things having a common quality. That is what simile is. Two different things. Let's say, for instance, if I say that the soul was like a star and dwelt apart. The soul was like a star and dwelt apart. If you look at that, you see I'm comparing the soul at the same time the star. And I'm saying that the soul is just like a star. All right? But definitely they dwell apart. Of course, we can also say the word righteous shall flourish as the palm tree. If you look at this, you will understand the fact that we are expressing two different things and we are likening them with the help of like and has. So, if this is clear, we move to what is referred to as metaphor. Metaphor is also a figure of speech. It's an implied simile in which the two things are treated as one. It expresses two things as one. But in this case, there will be no use of like or as. For instance, if I say, life is a dream. Life is a dream. You will see that two things are treated as one, like life is a dream. Life and dream. So we can also say that the camel is the sheep of the earth, of the desert rather. The camel is the sheep of the desert. So the camel and the desert are two different things, but we're treating them as one, that the camel is the sheep of the desert. Now, if that is also clear, we'll look at personification. Personification is a figure of speech, okay, which is used to believe that inanimate, lifeless objects and abstract ideas are living beings. It is used to give an inanimate or an abstract idea a living quality. You can also put it that way. That death lays his icy hand on the king. Death lays his icy hand on the king. Have we ever seen the hand of the death before? Or we say that the sunshade is beam on the rich and poor alike. So all of these are things that better express the definition when we liken the non-living to a living things. All right? Then we also look at the next, which is apostrophe. Apostrophe has a sign. Okay? But figuratively, if I say apostrophe, apostrophe is a figure of speech which is used to address a lifeless object or an abstract idea as if it were a living thing. If this is also clear, we can look at this example. Like if I say, oh, death, where is thy sting? Where is thy sting? Or where is your sting? So trying to use or address a lifeless object as a lifeless object or an abstract ideas as if it were a living thing. So then we move to the next, which is hyperbole. So what do we call hyperbole? It's a figure of speech which is used to make facts exaggeration. To make fact exaggeration. That is what we refer to as hyperbole. So, for instance, if I say that all the perfume of Arabia will not sweeten his little hand, all the perfume of Arabian will not sweeten his little hand. You can see that could be called an exaggeration, because a perfume, all the perfume in Saudi Arabia might seem to be too much. Well, it is said that way in order to emphasize a particular thing, that this person, all of these things will not still sweeten his hand. There's no amount of favor you can do to the person will still not appreciate. You can understand it from that angle too. We can also say that I'm able to fill the river with tears. Is able to fill the river with tears. So this is to tell you that this is an exaggeration. We will also talk about euphemism. What do we refer to as euphemism? Euphemism is a figure of speech which is used to say an unpleasant thing in a pleasant manner. When you say an unpleasant thing in a pleasant manner, we refer to such as euphemism. All right, let's look at this. If I say that he has fallen asleep, of course what I'm saying is that he is dead. An unpleasant thing in a pleasant manner. We can also say she is telling a fairy tale. Why not she's telling a story? She's telling me a fairy tale. So all these are things that will better explain what euphemism is about. The next is antithesis. So when we say antithesis, what are we referring to? An antithesis is a figure of speech, okay, that is used to express two contrasting or opposite ideas, okay, to achieve emphasis. Two contrasting opposite idea to achieve emphasis is what we refer to as antithesis. So can we just consider some of the examples? If I say man proposes, God disposes. Man proposes, God disposes. We can also say, you can see there are two different things. Man proposes, God disposes. There are two contrasting, emphasis. Like if I also say that give every man the hair. Give every man the hair. All right? But few the voice. Give every man the hair. So let everybody talk. But few the voice. So these are ways, or these are examples that better explain antithesis. Now let's look at oxymoron. So what do we call oxymoron? Oxymoron is a figure of speech which is used to express two contradictory qualities of the same thing. Two contradictory qualities of the same thing. What do I mean by this? If we say that his honor is rooted in dishonor, you will see that honor and dishonor are two opposite qualities. So when we now express two contradictory qualities of the same thing in English language, figuratively we refer to such as an oxymoron. All right? We can also say Ada was the wisest fool. Ada was the wisest fool. It's also an example, and so on. Let's quickly look at epigram. Epigram is used to express a brief pointed saying with antithetical ideas. Now, let's look at this, for instance. If I say, fool rush in where angel fear to tread. If you look at that expression, you will see that it's pointing to sin with antithetical ideas. And don't forget, I've told you that antithetical idea expresses opposite emphasis. Did you get it now? So, but what we refer to as epigram emphasizes an expression pointing to sin with antithetical ideas. Then we take irony. What do we refer to as irony? Irony is a figure of speech which is used to express opposite meaning, which is different from the real meaning. Okay? Which is different from the real meaning. For instance, if I say, you are pretty fellow, of course, I actually meant something else. What I meant in me was different from what I've just said. So if I say, ironically, she is a pretty fellow, meaning that that person is ugly. All right. If that one is clear, we move to what is referred to as pun. What do we call pun? Pun is a figure of speech, right, which is used to employ a word with two meanings to make the reader laugh. All right. I say that again. It's a figure of speech which is used to employ, all right, a word with two meanings to make the reader laugh. Let's take some instance. If I say that an ambassador is an honest man who lies abroad for the good of his country. So he's an ambassador, but he lies abroad for the goods of his country. That's an example of a pun. Let's say, is life worth living? Life worth living? So this might make people laugh, but it is actually a word or set of words that is employed to make the reader laugh. Now, if that is clear, then we look at what we call metonymy. So what do we refer to as metonymy? A metonymy is a figure of speech which is used to employ a particular object which stands for a thing or a person associated. All right? So let's take some instance. If I say, I love Suzanne from cradle to the grave, you will see that what I'm saying is that from infancy to death. All right? If I also say the pen is mightier than the sword, what I'm saying is that a writer is stronger than a warrior. All right? So if this two is very clear, you will understand that metonymy is a figure of speech which is used to employ a particular object which stands for a thing or a person associated. All right? Then we take to the next one, which is the synecdoche. So what do we refer to as synecdoche? Which is the next? Synecdoche is a figure of speech which is used to express a part of the whole. Did you get it? Or the whole for the parts. Okay? For instance, if I say, all hands are working hard, you will see that the hands here, I'm not referring to just the hand. I'm referring to a person. Now, all persons are what? Are working hard. But I will say it that way, that all hands are on deck, mean all persons are working. All right? Then at the same time, we can also say that uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. Uneasy lies the head. Is it the head we're referring to? But we're referring to the person. Okay? So, and that is what we refer to as synecdoche. When we use, this is used to express a part of the whole or a whole for the parts. All right. If that one is clear, we take transferred epithet. So what do we refer to as transferred epithet? It's a figure of speech which is used to transfer the quality of a particular thing. For instance, if I say, he passed a sleepless night. He passed a sleepless night. So figuratively, we are saying it is used to transfer the quality to that very thing. Sleepless night. She passed, or he passed a sleepless night. Or we can also say, I saw her with a sad look. So we're transferring a quality, okay, to a particular thing. Now, let's take the next, which is litotes. What do we refer to as litotes? So a litotes is a figure of speech which is used to convey an unaffirmative meaning by employing a negative word. An unaffirmative meaning, right, by employing a negative word. Now, let's take for instance, if I say, I achieved not a little in life. I achieved not a little in life. You will see that convey an affirmative meaning by employing a negative, word. like I achieved not a little, or I say it's not an ordinary beauty, meaning that the person is beautiful but extraordinarily, but using a negative term. Let's take another one, which we are going to be looking at what is called interrogation. So when we say interrogation, like we all know that from the word, the meaning of the word interrogation could actually mean questioning. So interrogation, figuratively, is a figure of speech, okay, which is used to ask questions for the sake of achieving the desired effect. All right, we refer to this interrogation to rhetoric question. You just ask that question, to achieve the desired effect. The answer is known. Everybody knows that answer. For instance, if I say life worth living, so it's a question for everybody, okay? And we all have an answer to it. Now the next is exclamation. So what do we call exclamation? Okay, figuratively, it's a figure of speech which is used to express an idea in the form of an exclamation. Again, I said it is used to express an idea in the form of an exclamation. All right? For instance, if I say, what a piece of work is man? What a piece of work is man? So this is an exclamation, okay, showing that probably I have gotten a reason to marvel about the creation of man. So we take the next, which is the climax. When we say climax, climax is a figure of speech which is used to express a series of ideas, all right, in the order of increasing importance. For instance, if I say, I came, I saw, I won, or I came, I saw, and I conquer. So this expression is a series of ideas, okay, in order to increase the importance, okay, expression of series of ideas in order of increasing importance. So if this is clear, we go to the anticlimax. Anticlimax is just the opposite of climax. So it's a figure of speech which is used to express a series of ideas in a decreasing order. The other one, the climax, is an increasing order, while this is a decreasing order. So with this, we want to believe that we would have understand what is referred to as figure of speech, and we will be able to give detailed account of the definition of the 19 figures of speech that have been explained in this lesson. We must understand that these things are seen in our WAEC questions, importantly in your comprehension part, where you will be required to supply the figure of speech for some underlying word. The understanding of all of this will assist you to confidently pick a right answer to some of these things. See you some other time. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and also invite your friend to this YouTube channel, because this is where you will see season lectures as it is relevant to the various exams you'll be writing. Thank you very much. See you next time.